This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. At the end of the day, I'm just a bloke with a chest freezer in his backyard, and before undertaking anything such as an ice bath, you should consult your health professionals and do your own research. Now, time for the show. G'day, legends. It's Trav Dittmar here on the Cold Exposure Hot Topics podcast. We've got episode 3 today, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Luke Corbran. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
I know you've been at work all day, and it's nice and hot in Adelaide as per usual.
Yeah, nice warm day today. No, I love it.
Yeah, so now we've just done the ice bath, and how are you feeling, a few minutes after that?
Pretty good. I've stopped shivering. I'm starting to feel way more relaxed, way more. My skin still feels cold, but pretty good overall. Pretty good.
Excellent. And I've also been in twice today. I thought, I can't go in for one and not the other, so
Exactly right, yeah.
that's been good fun, and we're nice and relaxed and ready to have a bit of a chat. So
Let's do it.
you and I came into contact through the Solace community.
Yeah, through 8fit first, I think.
It was,
Yeah, or Solace. Through Dan.
Yep, so that's Dan Lazeus for those playing at home. Himself and Jason McDonald, good friends of ours, have recently banded together and started up Solace Community, which is essentially, at its core, it's a fitness community, but it's so much more than that as well.
Yeah, so much more. Yeah, so much more than just what you get out of a personal trainer. So yeah, I'm loving it.
Excellent. So let's, I've obviously only known you for a little while, so tell me a bit about yourself and what life's been like for you so far, really.
Yeah, I'm really good place now, but it's been a lot of hard work to get here. Just sort of had what I thought was a relatively normal upbringing, and I guess by a lot of standards it was pretty normal, but sort of learned a bit later in life that some things weren't so normal. Had a bit of a tough time at school, got bullied a bit, had a tough time just getting to school, staying at school, focusing on schoolwork and stuff, so I ended up doing a lot of year 12 from home.
Okay.
By the end of it, did jump into uni for a few weeks, ended up getting mugged, doing pizza delivery jobs, so that I deferred the uni to sort of focus on getting better from that and never ended up going back. Went through quite a few jobs. I've done probably 12, 13 jobs at the moment now, settled on bookkeeping, so I'm on my third bookkeeping job now.
Yeah.
Started off with a small practice, doing small businesses, just sort of like, 10, 15 clients. Did that for a couple of years. Jumped into a car dealership, was there for a couple of years, and now for the last 3 months, I've been doing it at a SDA housing business. So a lot more fulfilling there, sort of getting houses up for people with physical disabilities and just getting them into homes that suit them a lot better. So
Yeah, well,
really happy work-wise now. So pretty happy. That's made a difference. It's some chalk and cheese going to work, and knowing what I'm doing is something that matters to me. So
and obviously benefits other people.
yeah, right, for sure. It's a lot more fulfilling than especially the car dealership, because that was pretty soulless, to be honest.
Yeah, it's all about, how much can we overcharge?
Yeah, the bottom line. Yeah, it was all about the bottom line and making the boss richer.
Yeah, exactly, which is unfortunately what most people do.
Yeah, so very privileged to be in a position where I can sort of get fulfillment out of what I do for work, because not a lot of people get to get that experience. So
Yeah, absolutely.
very lucky.
Now, you mentioned before as well, and we don't have to go too much into this if you don't want to, but that you did experience a bit of bullying and whatnot growing up. So, how has that shaped you going, like, obviously into adulthood?
Yeah.
And did it continue for a while into adulthood, or?
Nah, it's sort of, I moved schools a couple of times, and by the time I was probably about 14, 15, it had completely stopped, because I'd just gone to a school where they just weren't having a bar of it. So I was pretty lucky to get out of it in sort of, mid-adolescence. But I think the main thing it's taught me is to just be nice to people. You don't know what sort of day someone's having. There's no reason to be a dick. Just be nice, It doesn't benefit anybody being nasty. It's more of a reflection of them than it is of the person who's on the receiving end of it. And it's just no need for it, I think. So it just has such a negative impact on everybody involved, the kids, the parents. It's just sort of, I think the thing that's taught me most is probably empathy.
Yeah.
Sort of just trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes, even if they're pissing you off at work, for example. Just sort of, okay, maybe they're having a bad day. There must be a reason for it, and you don't have to put up with it, but you can sort of just, I guess, understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think any workplace you go to, there's always going to be the moments where you're a little bit stressed or someone else is a bit stressed, and people say things they don't mean,
Yeah.
And it's really, really, great that you can recognize that. Not everyone can, not everyone has that empathy to be able to go, okay, this isn't actually about me.
Yeah.
They've got X, Y, and Z going on. So that's really, really powerful, for sure. So, in terms of developing that empathy over time through, your own experiences, how have you found that's played out in your life? So by that I mean, do people take advantage of that sometimes, or do you find that it's very, you're in control of it, where you stand? And
I think earlier in life, probably I didn't realize when people were taking advantage of it, taking it for granted, and sort of just trying to see, sort of grab it for all it's worth. I'm definitely able to recognize that now, and I'm able to sort of pick and choose the people that I want to put my time and energy into, and if it's someone I don't think is appreciating it, or I don't want to say deserving of it, but someone who doesn't appreciate it, I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'll just sort of give everyone a clean slate when I first meet them, benefit of the doubt sort of thing. But I've got a pretty small circle, and I'm pretty happy with it that way. The people that matter most to me, sort of give them most of my time, love, and energy, and so I guess that's the main thing for answer that question.
So quality over quantity for
sure.
And it's, you say you don't like to use the term deserve, but it very much is,
I guess so, yeah.
Like traits like empathy, or even, just positivity, as broad as that branch is, like those things are infectious, and we can carry ourselves in such a way that we can impact other people in that, with those traits that we have. But it is also about protecting ourselves in that way, isn't it? And going, okay, look, yes, you might have X, Y, and Z going on, but I can't let that affect me. So if that's going to bring me down, then I'm bringing everyone else around me down. And it's a real ripple effect.
You can't be the best version of yourself under those circumstances, and then you're just detrimental to everybody else. Sure.
Yeah, exactly right. No, it's a really good grounding to have for sure. So going through, you said you've had a lot of jobs as you've, progressed through life. I've certainly had the same thing as well. What do you think's been the reason for that?
I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be quite honest. I sort of was just jumping at whatever opportunity would come my way, do it for a few months, a year, and go decide, no, that's not for me. That, or I would have I wouldn't want to say a health incident, but I had a pretty hard time with mental health, sort of as a later adolescent and even earlier in my 20s. Pretty rough time with it, pretty rough time with addiction as well. So it would get to a point where I just couldn't manage either working full time or working at all for a point. So I would have to leave and do something on reduced hours or reduced responsibility. So I'd have to sort of start afresh again. But I think I just didn't really find any fulfillment, or I just didn't want to do what I was doing. And I thought, especially in your teenage years, your early 20s, there's no reason to be stuck in it for that long. I've got time and opportunity to try to do something else. So I just sort of tried my hand at a few things, did childcare for a while, worked at a silicon factory for a while, done all the supermarkets, done management there, sort of jumping through roles until I found something that I was good at and I enjoyed enough to do every day.
And it's so important, isn't it? Once you lose the motivation, everything else just goes on.
It's going to spend 40 hours a week somewhere. You can't be hating it because it's just way too much time. It's a 30 awake until, a third of your awake time every week, and it's just not worth it, I don't think.
No, for sure. And, obviously it sounds like you found something now that's much more in line with, your values and who you are as a person. So that's really good to hear. Now, if you don't want to go down this path, we don't have to, so please don't feel like you have to answer. But you mentioned a bit about your mental health struggle and things and addiction and stuff like that. The floor is yours on this, and if there's a question I've asked that you don't want to answer, don't. But
no, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
Cool. What sounds so silly, doesn't it? What causes it? But what essentially do you think started the process of you going up, maybe something's not right, maybe I'm depressed, or
I was 14, I reckon, and I was just miserable all the time. I was just wasn't getting out of bed, wasn't happy, wasn't enjoying the things I used to enjoy, and I went to the doctor and got a diagnosis there for depression, anxiety, slapped me on some meds, and that was that from there. So, and then I sort of, for the next few years, has really struggled with that, chopping and changing medication, various side effects. Things didn't work, things worked too well. And then, then I was probably 17, I think I was, when I discovered alcohol and marijuana, and that was an escape. That was, to me at the time, worked better than any medication I'd had. It was a complete rewiring of your brain almost. You could just switch off from everything and turn off the noise in your head and just sort of focus on nothing, essentially. So that became a massive crutch for me very quickly. It sort of snowballed very quickly from trying it to becoming every single day thing.
Yeah.
And so that became a large reason for some of the jobs I wasn't performing at or wasn't enjoying and had to leave. Large reason I had to do quite a lot of year 12 at home as well, because I was already on that path. And that was a struggle for a long, long time. And I sort of, after a couple years, it wasn't like a light bulb moment. It's more of a gradual realization, like, hold on, I've got a big problem here. Like, I can't go to sleep without smoke, and I can't have fun without drinking. This isn't normal. It's not healthy. But between that moment, realizing that it was a problem to actually fixing it was such a long road with lots of bumps, lots of ups. It wasn't a linear progress. It was, you get better, and then you get better and better, and then and over and over and over again for such a long time. And I think there's a multitude of reasons that it took so long, but the main one, I think, just being the discipline, I think, to do it, and also the desire, because when you're in that really bad mind space, really bad mindset, part of you doesn't even want to get better. Like, part of you's fine staying like that, and you also don't think you're worth it either. Sort of have such a low value of yourself that you don't think it's worth putting the effort in to get better. So overcoming that was a massive, massive journey.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to touch on something you said there, because in my own journey, I found the same thing, where you are a bit scared of being better, scared of being okay, because what does that mean now? Like, I'm say if I am saying I'm all better, then people are going to start holding me accountable for things. We're going to take more responsibility, and it's so easy. Like you say, a big part of it for you, your usage as well, and I was saying, was escapism.
Yeah.
It's that if I don't have to think about it, or if I just moot the point where I'm just not involved, then it's all right, And like, I think you and I have a similar journey in that we sort of started around that 15, 16 age with the booze and with marijuana as well. And when you're that young, you don't know any better. It's like, you tried everything and it hasn't worked. Oh, this has, so let's just keep going. And, it's very much becomes that frog in the boiling water, where, the frog starts off in the pot and it's nice and all of that. And then you don't realize how hot it is until the water's boiling and you're cooking alive.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So let's touch a bit on the journey there. You've obviously mentioned a couple of the mental hurdles that presented themselves in the way. Can we dive into that a little bit more and see, what specifically would trigger you to, I hate the word relapse, but to go back to the old habits? Yeah.
I think it was just easier, because you get to a point, you go a few days, you go a week without it, and it was a real struggle, and I just didn't have that mental fortitude to stick on that path. It was easier to go buy another bag, or go out and get wasted again, or go buy another bottle. And just, I had no strength or no skills to cope with difficult situations. The only way I knew how to deal with a difficult situation was usage. It's the only way I knew how to sort of fix it. So it would go well for however long it would go well for, and then the moment it got hard, it was straight back to it, because that was the only way I knew how to deal with difficulties.
Yeah.
And then also, sort of, once you turn 18, 19, you're allowed to go out, and you've got your ID now. So you go out, you meet other people who also drink and smoke all the time, and then they become your friends, and it becomes even more normalized and even more accessible. And you think, okay, well, if all these guys are doing it, it can't be that bad, because they're here, they're fine, they're happy, quote unquote. So it just becomes normal, and I got to a point where I was going out 3 nights a week, just getting absolutely smashed, coming home, having kick-ons, just taking absolutely anything I could get my hands on, drinking drinks you find in the bathroom, God knows what's in them, just taking crap, and you just don't know what it does to your body, but in the moment, you don't care. All you're focused about is, this will get me fucked up, this will work, and such a bad place to be in. It's so dangerous. And really hard to get out of, because, like I said, that's the group of people you're in now. Everyone's doing it. It's just what people do in your little circle. So,
and if you don't conform, then outside of your ass question,
you're boring. Why aren't you doing it? It's you always get judged for not doing it, which is ridiculous to think about now. But.
like, I think like to think people are becoming more aware of these sorts of things, but it used to be the cardinal sin, didn't it? You go out and, oh, I'm not having a drink tonight. Oh, what the bloody hell are you doing? You know, like, there's so many negative effects of alcohol, but everyone just focuses on the rowdy side, the fun side.
It's dangerously normalized alcohol. It's like any other drug. You know, if you rock up to work on Monday and say, "Oh, I got stoned on the weekend. I was so fucking sober." Everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck? You're a bit of a druggie." You come to work on Monday. "I got smashed. I had a big bender on the weekend." "Oh, hell yeah, legend. That's unreal." It's weird. It's really weird.
It is, and it's, you know, it's almost that positive reinforcement that comes from other people, like you say, because they're doing the same thing. It's just like we build each other up in these negative habits, and then either you keep going or you make the decision that shit, this isn't good at all.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about that moment for you, or was it a bit of a series of moments?
It was a gradual realization. It definitely wasn't a light bulb moment. I was getting blackout drunk to the point when I was just completely forgetting everything. People were carrying me home, parents having to come pick me up, and just getting in really bad situations. I'd wander off and just fall asleep on the road and things like that. Then at the time, again, I thought it was cool. It was gnarly. I'm getting smashed and gone on benders and stuff. But you sort of get to a point where I think it's probably also when I've transitioned into a real job, quote unquote, an adult job. And I saw one of my, like, you know, I'm sitting here during the week in a button up shirt doing, you know, working with other people's money. And then on the weekend, I'm, you know, lying in a gutter somewhere, just passed out drunk. It's sort of that juxtaposition as well. And it just wasn't sustainable with the money you're spending on it. I'm spending so much of my pay on just crap and I just started feeling really bad physically, mentally, just all the time. And it was all I thought about was partying and drugs and drinking. And it's just, I think it was a gradual moment or gradual realization. I don't read anymore. I don't play games anymore. I don't play sports anymore. I don't exercise anymore. I just do this. And I just wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted way more from my life than that. So I had to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we sort of touched a bit on before how once you made that decision, it wasn't a linear process, and it's never, ever going to be. So I guess, you know, like, and I've been there before. We've had a bit of a chat about my journey and stuff as well. You know, obviously it worked. Eventually, what was different about the last time that you tried and kept going, as opposed to the times where you've gone, I've done this for a week or however long, not going well?
I think it was I was homesick from work with COVID. And because of where I was working, they had a policy where you have to stay home for 5 days. This was after all the restrictions, but they still had that. Even if you test negative, you got to be at home. And I was sitting at home. It was a really nice day outside. It was, you know, a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever, 11 in the morning. And I was stoned playing a game on my computer. And I thought, I'm a grown man now. This is ridiculous. What the hell am I doing? Look at it outside. I could be doing anything right now. And this is what I'm doing. The same thing I've been doing for years and years and years and years and years. And it was just like, I've got to do something about this. And you see other people doing fun things, going on holidays, people having partners and just living their lives. I thought, what the hell am I doing? So I think that was a big catalyst. And I don't really know. I think it might have been practice as well, because I quit weed at least a dozen times.
Yeah.
And you quit and you go back again. So maybe it was practice. Maybe I knew what I was in for a bit more. I definitely, getting rid of all my paraphernalia helped. Having everything out of the house, not having access to it, that definitely helped, because there's definitely still moments where I was really wanting it. And I think just learning to distract myself as well, like recognizing when I was having a weak moment, going, okay, get up and do something, go to the gym, go watch a movie, go do something with your hands, get your mind off of it.
Yeah.
But I think, the main thing would have just definitely been that desire that I sort of probably grew over time, that I want more than this.
Just got to be enough. I've had a gut full of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big part of it too, is recognizing it in yourself. You know, because it's easy for other people around you to say, oh, you should do this, or, you know, do this, that, and the other, but it's got to come from within, because otherwise it's just not going to work.
That's 100%. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So I've been led to the water that many times, and I guess I got thirsty enough. Actually, yeah.
There you go. No, that's a really, really good way to put it. So how long ago was that moment from now?
Probably within the last 12 months, between, I'd say 8 to 12 months ago, was that real sort of kicker.
Yeah.
And then even then it went from daily use to I would do it couple weeks on, couple weeks off, couple weeks on, couple weeks off, and that was sort of like, I was living 2 lives almost, and it was just thought, I've got to commit to this properly.
Yeah.
And like I still drink every now and then. I'm not completely stone cold sober or straight edge, but it's in moderation now. It's controlled. It's when I feel, when I want to, for a special occasion or a birthday. And it's also much more reserved. I'm not getting smashed and falling asleep on the streets and making it good myself anymore. So it's just learning to enjoy it in a much more, I guess, I've already said controlled, but in a much safer way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's not, like you say, it's controlled, it's not controlling you, sort of.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure a lot of us have been there when you do get swept up in it. It's good night at the pub, and then next thing you know, your mates bought a round of shots for everyone, and before you know it, you've had 8 standard drinks in the last hour, and you just no chance of redemption from that.
No, you're sort of done for there.
Yeah. No, so that's really awesome. That's that moment's not only happened, but it's obviously continued.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool to see. So, now obviously we've talked about what you were doing and all of that kind of thing. What are we doing now?
Well, it's just as you thought popped in my head just then. I reckon it would have coincided roughly with when I first met Dan. Let's start speaking of Dan. So I saw his 8fit Instagram, gave it a follow. He reached out, hey man, what'd you chuck us a follow for? Had a chat to him, had a call, and thought, yep, cool, let's do it. Yeah. And it's just completely, not that it's that one catalyst thing, it's a mental switch as well, but it's, I could feel like a completely different person, to be honest. I'm out doing things, I'm doing things I never thought I would have even been capable of, completely more confident. I just feel like a different person. I wake up every morning and I can't wait to do my day. And like, if you told me that even probably a year ago, I would have laughed at you. Like, no chance, that's not happening. It was a survival. So I think that's probably the way to say it, is I'm living and not surviving anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting out, getting in the sun, moving my body, eating better, just doing things that are good for you. It's just the basic things. It really is. It seems so silly and simple to say it, but it works.
Yeah. And it's starting with the biggest step, isn't it? And it's once you start and then you commit, you go, shit, this isn't actually that hard. It was all drummed up in my mind. I've shared a little bit about my fitness journey as an example of this, where like a bit of trauma around that. That's a very long story. But even once I got over that, there was still the, trying to motivate myself to go to the gym. 90% of that's just showing up. Yeah. As soon as you get there, that's the hard bit. Then you've just got 45 minutes, an hour, however long your session is. Yeah, it's just you and whatever you need to do.
And you almost end up always like enjoying it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And then, I think they say it takes about 21 days to build a habit. And, whether that's around gym or, like you say, better eating, getting out in the sun or doing all of these things, it has a ripple effect. And it just, it's not just like I'm focusing on this one area of my life. It's, I've done this in this area and that's benefited all of this.
Yeah.
It's a much more holistic picture, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like it's you focus on the 2 or 3 areas of the basic things, and it affects everything. My house is cleaner. I've got better relationships with my family. My skin is cleaned up. I'm just happier. I'm doing better things. And it's not even something you really realize until you take a step back and go like, holy shit, that's when you reflect on moments like that.
It's so important, yet so often neglected. And, this is to do with a lot of the way most of our minds are just subconsciously programmed, which is to focus on the negatives and all the stuff that's not there and everything like that. But when you reframe it and, you just do a little bit here, a little bit there, you're showing yourself that you can do things, you can commit, you can trust yourself. And like I said, that then ripples out to everything else where, it's not necessarily a conscious effort to improve one particular thing, but it's just the holistic overall, upward momentum spout.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing actually just popped into my head. A good friend of mine a couple of days ago was showing me something someone wrote. My quote in there that stuck out is avoidance is a sign of like unhealed wounds. Well, the avoidance is the weakness of unhealed wounds was the wording, and that struck really deep because to me, what that means anyway is if you're avoiding difficult tasks, difficult conversations, just difficulties, when you haven't worked on yourself, you haven't reflected, you're sort of covering your own, putting the band-aids over your own trauma. You haven't built the skills, the courage, or the strength to deal with difficulties. And the first place you learn that is within yourself, I think. And once you've once you've conquered yourself, then you've got the strength and the ability to go and do those difficult things.
Spot on.
And, you know, if you're living your life running away from problems, hiding from problems, it's going to be miserable. It's going to be an anxious life. But if you're able to face those things and deal with them, and whether they turn out in your way or not, they're resolved one way or another. And you can go about your day without those things hanging over you like a cloud.
Yeah.
Which is just another massive weight off.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, this all comes down to that self-awareness piece as well. That, you know, like it is quite easy, and often, don't get me wrong, these things certainly contribute, but it's very easy on the surface level to go, oh, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, because of what happened to me at work today, or, you know, I'm feeling down because I drank too much last night or smoked or whatever. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like those things are there, but that's not the reason you're feeling those things. There is that underlying, like you say, the problem deeper than the symptom and the action and the habit, you know. And once you actually come to peace with that, and, you know, that could be any mental hurdle you have, then you suddenly go, oh, okay, I almost don't even need to think about our behavior anymore, because I've actually figured out the issue. I'm not looking to escape. I'm not looking to try and make it easy for me to cope with.
There's nothing to escape anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, quite often you find, like, sometimes with certain issues, obviously post-traumatic stress disorder and things, it can take a little bit longer to work for us. Yeah. But once you just give that awareness to any situation that you're in, at least that ball gets rolling. Yeah. You get onto that path. So, you know, obviously we're well onto that path now. We mentioned a bit about Solace and 8Fit before. Talk to me a bit about, you know, what you do within Solace and what the program's about, and how that has continued to help you and build things into your life that you didn't think.
Yeah, well, at its core, I guess it's a fitness and training community program. So they give you your programs, your workout programs. They talk about what goals you want to achieve, how we're going to achieve them. They put the regimen in place for you to follow. But that's just scratching the surface. With what Dan and Jace have done is incredible. They've created this community of really welcoming, beautiful people, and just this in-person and online community where you can go to something like the Sunday sessions. My first Sunday session, I was terrified. I was so scared. I just forced myself to go. So just do it, just go. And it's just from that moment, I think it's just snowballed. It just builds confidence. Being around people like Jason, Dan, and everyone else who's involved with it is it's incredible. And we do these adventure clubs, we do the weekly calls. It's just being in that community. Jason actually said to me, I was talking about him, talking to him about it a couple of weeks ago. And he says, I was just talking about how much more confident I feel. And he goes, once you're part of a community like this and people accept you for your genuine self and love you for it, you can go out into the wide world and talk to anybody, knowing that if they've got a problem with you, it's not about you, because you're fine. There's people who love you for who you are, so there's nothing wrong with you. It's a reflection of them and what they're going through and how they see the world. And that really hit home with me as well. So I feel like it just gives you so much more of that. And then also the daily habits, they change them every month, and they might seem simple, like have a cold shower, read 10 pages of a book, go for a walk, some little things like that, where you look at it and go, oh, you know, what difference is that going to make? But you do it, and it does. It makes you feel better. You're both being able to tick off the habits. It makes you feel like you've accomplished something. You've got something done.
Dopamine hit.
And yeah, 100%. And then there's also the benefits of it. Like you read, you know, that's 300 pages. That's a book. Which and then it made things that I was doing 2-3 times a week become a 7-day thing, and it turns it into a part of your life almost.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole I don't know, another word for it than community. It's like a raw emotion almost, really, just being part of it, and you feel proud, grateful, welcome, accepted, all in one. It's amazing, really.
Yeah, and I think, you know, another word I like to use is when you find your tribe.
Yeah.
You know, it's those like-minded people. And like you say, when you open yourself up to these situations, which can be hard for people, especially if you've been an introvert your whole life and whatnot, but when you do show those little bits of yourself and it gets accepted, it's just such a good feeling.
It is, yeah.
And, you know, it's very clear with yourself. Like, you've obviously built your confidence up a fair bit, and like you say, you're throwing yourself into experiences that you haven't done before. You were telling me about the roof climb before, and, you know, heights is a big thing for you, and you smashed it out of the park, you know. Like, you probably wouldn't have even thought about that 12 months ago.
Would not have even considered doing it. I remember going to the footy and cricket, going, look at these idiots. There's no way you'd get me up there. Not a chance. And then even like I was struggling today. I was scared. I was having trouble breathing and moving, and there's 13 other people there. Come on, mate, you can do it. You've got this. It's just so good. It's and I wouldn't have been able to do it without that.
Yeah,
No way.
and we're as humans, we're not meant to be alone. We're meant to be in these communities, and when we find that one where we just feel like we're at home, it just is one of those things that just opens the world up to you in a completely different way. And, there is that saying that goes around, it's, you are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And something so simple as, like I know for me, I used to spend a lot of time at the pub.
Yep.
And nothing against those guys, great people, all of that. Now I spend my time doing other things, like whether it's down at the beach, doing my meditations, exercising, that kind of thing. You just frame things differently.
100%.
It's not that I feel the need to go to the pub after work because I'm stressed and that's my coping nephews and this is who I do it with. It's like, okay, now I get to go home and jump in the ice bath and engage with people, or I get to go down to the beach or go for a run, or maybe not go for a run. We're not there yet, let's be real.
Yeah, no, running's a tough cookie.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I've got to be a bit careful at the moment with my heart conditions. But maybe eventually, but baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah.
Awesome. So, as you see, you've moved into a new job in the last few months or so, and that's going really, really well for you. What does the rest of the year look like, not only with work, but for your own personal goals and what you're working towards?
Well, it's completely, like, the last few months have completely reframed. I've never set yearly goals. I've never looked ahead in the future. And now I'm thinking, what can I do? What can I achieve? How can I push myself more? What other fears can I conquer? What can I do? What's more than work and gym and going to bed? Like instead of pursuing, I guess, hobbies such as, like movies and things that are just consuming, what can I do? What can I make? What can I create? What can I leave behind? And I haven't quite figured out what yet. Like, what is my purpose, essentially? I've never ever asked myself that question. What's my purpose? And now I'm sort of just on that road to figuring that out. So the next year is going to be a lot more soul searching, a lot more growing, a lot more blossoming, and just figuring out what I want to do the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years. So what do I want to leave behind?
Yeah, awesome. And one thing I can say to that sort of work is, like, it is very important, as you know, and as you've recognized, when you feel like you've figured out what that purpose is, don't necessarily stay locked into that for the rest of your life. Like that might serve you for the next 5, 10 years, and then, things might change again. And then suddenly, I find when I was going through some courses, everyone was very, I need to absolutely nail this statement, what my purpose is. I absolutely get it. And that's that. But, the fluidity of life doesn't like, no, and I think it's going to be a pretty big year for you.
Yeah, I feel it as well. I'm very excited. I've never been this excited heading to a year before, because I just feel like I've got so much potential.
Yeah.
So much to do, so much to achieve, and I can do it. There's nothing stopping me. So let's go.
Absolutely. And, it's also the attitude, no one else is going to do it for me either. I've been saying this a couple of times on the podcast, but, you can have mum, dad, and Tom Cobbler in your ear going, do this, do that, the other, but at the end of the day, they can't do shit. It's got to come from within, and I've gotten to that point.
I think that was part of my gradual realization, getting out of my slump I was in as well. I was like, I've been to doctors, been to psychiatrists, had the family sit me down, but they're not going to drag me out of it. As much as they want to, they can't. I have to do it.
Yeah, spot on.
And even something my sister said to me a few months ago, we were talking about the gym. I was been lazy with the gym. I can't be fucked going, sort of thing. And I was talking about motivation. She says, it's not motivation, it's discipline. And now I don't use the word motivation at all. It's discipline, because your motivation is going to go up and down, and there's so many factors out of your control affect your motivation, but you're entirely in control of your disciplines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a muscle. You have to practice it, especially when it's hard. So for me now, the most important days of the gym are the ones I don't want to go, where I'm tired, I'm sore, I don't want to go. I'll just go tomorrow. Not go, do it. And that builds that habit, it builds that muscle, and it just gets easier. And the same with, tough tasks at work, or just things that you don't want to do, that you have to do, just do them. Eat that frog, Dan says. And just do it, and it just gets easier.
Absolutely. And, those more difficult days, those more difficult tasks, when you get those out of the way, it's that much more satisfying and more win, isn't it? When it's been something that you've resented doing, or it's challenged you, and you get through it, it's like, shit, I can do this. Yeah, I'm proud of myself because I took the time to consciously make sure I'm disciplined enough to get it done, then again, that ripples out into your own self-confidence, trust and belief in yourself as well. Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a fair bit today, mate.
Bit of a topic, range of topics, eh?
Absolutely, but that's the way we like it. Now, is there anything else you want to leave us with today? Where can people find you on socials, assuming you want people to take with you?
I'm CornBeanX on Instagram. That's where you'll find me. Otherwise, just if you're having a tough moment, a tough time, just do it. Get up and do it. Do it once. Get up today and do it. Don't do it tomorrow. Don't do it next week. Just get up and do it. And let the rest of it work itself out from there.
Awesome. And that sort of answers my next question, which was going to be, what's your sort of mantra or quote going into this year? I think that sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Get up and do it.
Yeah, no one's going to do it for you.
100% right.
All right, well, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, episode 3, so we're up and running. And
awesome.
I'm very, very keen to check in with you again throughout the year. And
for sure.
How you going? And thanks again for tuning in, everyone. You can find me on all the socials. The Journey of Trav on Instagram, Trav Dittmar on YouTube, trav.dittmar on TikTok. So please like, share, subscribe, follow, do all of that good stuff. And we'll see you next time for episode 4. Thank you very much.
See you later, guys.
G'day, legends. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Just a reminder for where to follow me on social media. I'm The Journey of Trav on Instagram, Trav Dittmar on YouTube, trav.dittmar on TikTok. And if you are listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please, please, please give me a 5-star rating and leave a review as well. That would go a long way to getting this podcast out there. And if you are watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff as well. Thanks heaps, legends, and I'll see you next time.